I am so tired of hearing people claim that Mario doesn't grow or change over the course of the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I mean, what do you call this then? But seriously, Mario actually does have a character arc in this story, as he very clearly ends in a different place than where he began it. And no, I don't mean him moving from Brooklyn to the Mushroom Kingdom. Instead, what I'm actually talking about is how he changes internally, which is something that never happens in the games, as he's never given the opportunity to. So, in order to facilitate this change in the movie, Illumination deployed a story structure that you may have heard of, the hero's journey, and it's been used in some of the most popular films of all time. Now, generally speaking, the hero's journey consists of 12 steps across 3 different phases: the departure, the initiation, and the return. But we'll get into more of that later. For now, what really matters is this. The hero's journey is a story about a character who leaves their ordinary world, faces all kinds of challenges in a new one, and ultimately returns home changed for the better. So how exactly does the Mario movie fit into this? Well, that's what we're about to find out. Okay, so of course we start with the departure phase, where we're first introduced to our primary protagonist, Mario, who seems to be a pretty ordinary guy with an entrepreneurial spirit. We can see he's generally joyful and optimistic, but is often made to feel small and powerless by the world and circumstances around him. His old boss berates and mocks him, he fails at their first plumbing job, and even his own father disapproves of him leaving a steady job to chase a dream, while holding him accountable for dragging his brother, Luigi, down with him too. And this is when we see Mario at one of his lowest points. He's broke, has little support, and ultimately feels like a failure, as brilliantly reinforced by Mario failing, yet again, at the very Nintendo game he's playing. It's a literal reflection of his inner turmoil. But just as he's seemingly on the verge of giving it all up, that's when he receives the call to adventure, in the form of a TV broadcast about a busted waterman that's flooding Brooklyn, which Mario, ever the optimist, interprets as the exact opportunity he and his brother have been looking for.
Somebody save Brooklyn!
Save Brooklyn?
Which is precisely what Mario and Luigi promised they would do in their plumbing ad.
That's why the Super Mario Brothers are here, to save Brooklyn.
Hey, no one can accuse them of false advertising if they pull it off, right? Now this is where things get a little unique by the hero's journey standard, because oftentimes, though not always, the hero initially refuses the call to adventure. Like how Luke Skywalker initially can't imagine living his home life behind.
I'm not going to Alderaan. I've got to get home. It's late. I'm in port as it is.
Even Shrek had to think twice before committing to it.
What kind of quest?
But Mario doesn't wince at all. After all, he's the one who interprets this as his destiny.
Destiny is calling!
So of course he's 100% on board. In fact, it's critical to the story that Mario doesn't refuse a call, because it ties directly into his character arc. That Mario refuses to give up. That even in his lowest moments, he can still find determination and opportunity. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a refusal here at all. Because let's not forget, this isn't the Super Mario movie, it's the Super Mario Bros. Movie. And even though the story is largely centered around Mario, from a narrative viewpoint, it's actually about Mario and Luigi as brothers. So as it turns out, it's actually Luigi who denies the call, every step of the way.
Mario!
Which Luigi drives home after they fail at this latest attempt too.
I knew saving Brooklyn was a bad idea.
Come on.
While we're here, we can use a deleted scene to help inform us more of the creator's intent. Because originally, Mario was the one to express disappointment at their latest failure.
Mario, what are you talking about?
Come on, Lou. Let's go home. Hey, maybe there's still some dessert left over. If we're lucky, Uncle Tony didn't hammer all the cannolis.
But it was likely changed for a few reasons. One, it's redundant. We just saw Mario at his lowest point a few moments ago. We don't need to see it again so soon, as it would just be depressing, like kicking a dog when it's down, or kicking a dog at all even. Plus, it runs counter to his entire arc. Remember, Mario doesn't give up, so in the moments when it seems like he might, they really need to be set up properly for us to believe it. Second, Luigi already provides that perspective, as we just pointed out with them being visibly hesitant before this scene, and having them effectively swap roles here is just confusing and sends mixed messages. Anyways, curious about what lies ahead in this strange area they found themselves in, the brothers continue to explore until they're both sucked up by a weird pipe and spat out into a strange new world, separating the pair into 2 different regions of it. And this is the inciting incident, the single event that disrupts the status quo and propels the story forward by giving our heroes a new purpose, or in screenwriting terms, a want. In Luigi's case, it's obviously to be rescued, and of course for Mario, he wants to find Luigi, and he'll spend most of the rest of the story trying to make that happen. So now that our heroes are finally in this strange new land, that leads us to the initiation, where Mario will face numerous obstacles on his journey to rescue Luigi. But he won't be doing it alone, as an important part of the hero's journey is meeting a mentor figure. Now, although Toad acts as an early form of it, introducing Mario to the Mushroom Kingdom, a bit like Hagrid in Harry Potter, it's actually Princess Peach who fully assumes the role here, acting as Mario's Dumbledore, if you will. She's smart, super skilled, and as Toad even says,
She can do anything.
and we're not only told how capable she is, but we'll soon see it for ourselves too. Yeah, we've come a long way since
Mario?
talk about an upgrade. And we'll be breaking down exactly why Peach needed a change later on. Anyways, as Mario's mentor, Peach is the one who first accepts him as her protege, but only after she tests his mettle with a real-life Kaizo level. So she's the one that first knows a spark in Mario that no one else has appreciated.
Well, okay. Let's see what you're made of.
And will be the one who will eventually impart upon Mario the very thing he needs to understand in order to complete his journey. This is a perfect opportunity to discuss a critical part of our protagonist's arc, especially in a hero's journey story. Their want versus their need. A want is an external thing that drives our hero into action, but these characters usually need something too. Something that addresses an internal conflict the character has, which is often something about the character that they look at upon as a flaw. Luke Skywalker wants to leave his boring farm life behind to pursue greater adventures, but what he'll need is to overcome the fear and anger that will tempt him to the dark side. Marlin in Finding Nemo wants to find his son, but what he actually needs is to learn how to let go and trust his son to live his life. And returning to the predecessor of the greatest movie of all time, Shrek wants to be left alone at his swamp, because he believes himself to be an unlovable monster. But what he actually needs is to learn that not everyone sees him that way. So we know Mario's want to find Luigi, but what is his need? What's the thing that he needs that's holding him back? Well, we know he's tired of feeling small, both in the physical sense of how he's often being picked up and thrown around like a sack of potatoes, but more importantly in the spiritual sense. In that, he feels powerless and ineffective.
Our whole lives, everyone's telling us we can't do this, we can't do that. Just sick and tired of feeling so small.
And this is reinforced throughout his entire adventure. Spike towers over him while mocking him and his business.
Get this through your tiny brain, Mario. You're a joke.
His dad doesn't approve of anything Mario's doing.
I think you're nuts. You don't leave a steady job for some crazy dream.
The leader of the Kong army openly laughs at him.
Who is this guy?
Donkey Kong mocks his size.
I don't need anything special to break every bone in your tiny body.
Which is only amplified when this happens. And he's constantly insulting him too.
And well, my dad thinks I'm a joke too.
Yeah, well, your dad's right.
And even his own mentor, Princess Peach, can't help herself from making a snide remark.
You won't even notice it probably, because you're very, very small.
Hey, no body shaming, Peach. So Mario desires to feel bigger, both physically and spiritually. The physical side gets cleverly dealt with soon enough, with the mushroom power-up literally making him bigger, even if just temporarily. Look at how Mario reacts.
Whoa, I'm tall.
He's even a little cocky.
I got this. No problem.
Although he's about to learn that the power-up alone isn't going to solve his problems. Which leaves his internal need as what needs addressing, as he's tired of being made to feel ineffective. But something needs to change for that to happen. Specifically, Mario needs to embrace the idea that his determination, which has been so derided by others, isn't actually a weakness, but a source of his strength. His superpower, you might say. And that's what the entirety of the second act, the initiation, is all about. Mario facing challenges that he doesn't back away from and finding success in one way or the other.
Had enough?
Not even close.
Which allows Peach, his mentor, to open his mind to the possibility that what he believed to be true about himself actually isn't. And her role is instrumental in helping him realize this truth. Consider how it's only due to Mario's sheer determination that leads to Peach even considering bringing him along in the first place.
Make fun of me all you want, but you were gonna help me find my brother. Please?
Well, okay.
But even then, not before putting him to the test in what's basically Mushroom Kingdom boot camp. And Mario isn't even able to finish it in time. Yet Peach still brings him along anyway.
We have a long journey ahead of us, Mustache.
But I didn't make it.
Exactly, Mario! Why is Peach bringing you along if you couldn't finish the course? Here's the thing, she wasn't actually testing his ability to complete the course. What she actually was testing was his resolve.
Well, okay. Let's see what you're made of.
Is that a yes?
No, that's a let's see what you're made of.
And he passed that test with flying colors because he never gave up. So the seed of a new belief has been planted, but now it needs to be watered and nurtured. And that's where the next major test comes in, where Mario takes on DK and gets completely clobbered in return. Because despite getting the snot beat out of him, he just keeps at it.
Had enough?
Not even close.
And eventually succeeds as a result. Afterward, Peach tells him one of the most important things that he needs to hear.
You just don't know when to quit.
Huh. Well, never thought of that as a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Thanks.
In this conversation, she's directly addressing the lie that Mario believes about himself. The one that's been reinforced by his dad, Spike, and even the circumstance that he and Luigi find themselves in. Specifically, that his determination isn't something to be proud of. But Mario's mind is now being open to the realization that it might actually be a good thing. And that's his true reward in this case. I mean, sure, he's won the favor of the Kong army, and they'll definitely help in a brute force sense, but what he'll need for later, as well as his own personal fulfillment, is the exact thing he just learned. But that newfound belief will be tested soon enough. Because Mario still has more challenges to face, including one where he finds himself at a new lowest point. Literally on the ocean floor, inside a giant eel being slowly eaten alive. Which perhaps is appropriate considering he and DK briefly bond over shared trauma that's eating both of them up inside too. Including the revelation that Mario's blaming himself for the predicament that Luigi finds himself in.
Well, at least your brother isn't gonna die because of you.
Which is when it's become clear how much he's internalized what his dad's told him.
And the worst part? You're bringing your brother down with you.
And what my dad thinks I'm a joke too.
Quick aside, but I have to bring attention to the fact that one of the steps in Joseph Campbell's outline for the hero's journey is literally titled The Belly of the Whale. Which is all too fitting for where we find ourselves now. Inside the belly of an eel. Now, strictly speaking, the step Joseph described usually happened much earlier in the story, generally as a low point for the hero right before they venture out into the new world, which in this movie's case would likely be this scene, right before Mario receives the call to adventure. However, it's also become more commonly known for representing the hero's lowest point. And even though this may be a new low for Mario, we're not quite at his lowest yet. In any case, between DK's ingenuity and Mario's determination, they both eventually make it back to the Mushroom Kingdom, where Mario rescues Luigi, diverts a bomber build that threatened the entire kingdom, and basically saves the day. Except, it's not over yet, because his action causes them all to be warped back to his original world, Brooklyn, New York. Which, at least in a literal sense, brings us to the final part of the hero's journey. The return. I say that because, although Mario may physically be back in his homeworld, his journey isn't quite over yet, as his problem kind of followed him here. Whoops! And this is where Mario will face his final test. Because Bowser is pissed, and wants to make Mario as miserable as he is.
Now you will suffer! Like me!
And he doesn't hold back, pummeling the poor plumber into near total submission. Even though we end up back where we started in the pizza parlor, things couldn't be more different. Rather than celebrating with his brother, Mario's beaten up and all alone, unsure of everything that led up to this moment. Despite all the success he's seen during his journey, it all seems to be for naught, as it's only turned into a bigger problem, and he's back to feeling like a failure. When he looks upon himself, he only sees a broken man. But just when he's on the verge of giving up, he receives a message when he needs it most. And it's a message from himself, along with his brother.
Mamma mia! That's why the Super Mario Brothers are here, to save Brooklyn.
And it reminds him of who he is and what their true purpose is. This is a wonderful scene, and I don't think it gets nearly enough credit for how well done it is, as it makes Mario feel vulnerable for basically the first time ever, and we truly do believe he's on the cusp of giving up. The movie doesn't undercut it with a joke or a visual gag. It actually does slow down and let us linger for a moment with Mario's deep contemplation, before following it with that heartfelt message that Mario needed to hear at his lowest point. And when Mario finally ventures back outside to face Bowser one more time, not only is it incredibly resonant, but that's when we get the payoff to the entire journey Mario's been on, both physically and spiritually.
You just don't know when to quit.
Yeah, I've been told that before.
That is the lesson that Mario needed to learn. The validation that Peach gave him earlier was a gift he needed to keep going before he abandoned that belief forever. He's finally truly embraced the idea that his determination is a source of strength and not a weakness. And combined with being reminded of everything that's important to him, gave him the strength and courage he needed to see this through to the end.
That's a goal.
From this point, it almost doesn't even matter what happens next. Mario's character arc is essentially complete. He gets the star and, you know, yada yada yada. So finally, with Bowser defeated and Brooklyn saved, Mario is unquestionably a hero due to his perseverance, and finally gets the approval he's been seeking. Not just from his dad and his former boss, but the entire city block, which vindicates a lesson that he learned in the Mushroom Kingdom, that his determination isn't something to be ashamed of. All of this is so incredibly heartfelt, and it includes a positive message. That the act of failing doesn't make you a failure. Instead, it's a stepping stone in your journey to be learned from rather than used as a sign to give up entirely. And this is further cemented when we see Mario and Luigi continuing to run their plumbing business, only presumably much more successfully now. I suppose that literally saving Brooklyn's probably a pretty good advertisement. Only now, the twist is that they run out of the Mushroom Kingdom, which is a fun take on a typical hero's journey ending, which normally results in the hero returning to their normal world. But here, they've instead made the strange world their new home instead. Although it's clearly implied they can still return to their original home to take advantage of everything that they've gained and learned. Woo! And that brings us to the end of the hero's journey. Or should I say, hero's journey. Because guess what? Luigi has an arc here too, and we'll be discussing that in the next video. So make sure to click the subscribe button and ring the bell to make sure that you don't miss it. And make sure to check out the previous parts if you haven't already of our ongoing Mario movie analysis. You'll find a link to the playlist on the screen right now. And with that, we'll see you in part 5.